Good morning, everybody. How y'all doing? Hope you're doing well. Yeah, I have a baby attached to my chest. She's just like, no, I'm going to stay right here, no matter what. Kind of had a rough night last night anyway. Yeah, I kept doing a lot of tossing and turning, not really sleeping very well. But that's okay. Yeah. I'm dealing with a little bit of a low sugar right now, too. I did just eat a cookie, so hopefully it'll help bring me back up. I am feeling it kind of kicking in a little bit, even though my sugar is still registering on the low side. I feel like I'm waking up a little bit more. That's the thing with the low sugars. I have a tendency to be a bit sleepy, foggy, just want to curl up and sleep, but that's okay. So she's doing her job, keeping an eye on her mommy, making sure that she doesn't slip away into Never Never Land and never wakes up, because that can happen. Yeah, but I mean, it's sugar's not terribly low. It's just kind of, a little on the low side. 69 basically. So yeah, I'd like to have it up a little bit more, and I do feel it a little bit, but that's okay. I just took a little bit extra insulin. Excuse me, when I got home. So it doesn't surprise me that it's a little bit low. But anywho, yeah, and this one is going to be a little pleasantly surprised too. Oh, she got some icky in her eye. Here we go. Yeah, because Mommy remembered to get her spinach. Yeah. Last run that I did with work last night, for those of you who don't know, I'm a delivery driver. Yeah, let's get the rest of that off. There we go. Oh, that looks so much better. But anyway, my last run that I did was a shopping request at one of the local grocery stores. And while I was there, I'm like, well, I might as well get what I need, because I remembered that I had forgotten to get her spinach the other night. So I went ahead and grabbed that as well. But yeah, got her spinach. Yep. So she's good to go. She needs that in her diet. The roughage, since how she's an indoor baby, and she also deals with pancreatitis on occasion. It's a good idea to give her some roughage. Oops. Oh, hold on. No, that's my glasses. There we go. It's a good idea to give her some roughage. Oh, there we go. Now I cleaned out my own eyes, so to speak. Anyway, like I was saying, it's a good idea to give her some roughage to help keep her regulated. And she actually started doing that on her own when she was a baby. I had a bunny at the time. She used to dig around in his food. I'd have it there on the floor. He'd get a combination of a couple different kinds of kale, spinach, I don't remember what else I used to give him. Oh, dandelion greens. That's right. But yeah, she used to. I'd have it there on the floor for him, especially there at the end, because it was a little bit easier for him to get, and he would wind up dumping it all on the floor anyway. So it's like, screw it. I just take it and I fill up a bowl, huge bowl of it, and then just dump it there on the floor. So anyway, she used to root around in his food and dig out the spinach. It's like, okay, this is odd. I mean, she would even, so I started just giving her spinach with her food. I'd take her wet food, put it basically what I do, I still do the same thing. I take the wet food and I put it in the center of her dish, and I take a little bit of spinach and break it up and then kind of do it around her food. That way she gets her wet food and then she gets her spinach. It's the way she likes it. It's like, oh, okay. But when we live alone, on our own, and I'm getting her food, what I do is I take the container of spinach, and she does baby spinach, excuse me, the fresh stuff, not the cooked. Anyway, oh, excuse me. I take the container out of the fridge and I just open it up and put it there on the floor, and she gets her own spinach out. She likes to do that. It's an extra special treat for her to be able to do that. So, I know. She's such a sweet girl. Such a sweetie. But, yeah. Well, and it's funny, anytime I do that, like the other day, I was doing that. I was actually had her dish prepared, and I was bringing it upstairs here, and Angie and Rick were in the living room. You have to pass through the living room to come upstairs, and Rick's just like, oh, look, isn't this so cute, this, that, and everything. And well, they started asking questions, and they're like, she really eats that? And it's like, yeah. And I was explaining the whole thing to how it all got started and everything, and Angie was just like, oh, so you didn't, she actually, and I'm like, exactly. It's like, okay. And I explained to him, I'd much rather her have the spinach. I thought about getting one of those grass things. But I'd much rather her have the spinach because it's got a lot of water in it, and of course cats don't drink a whole lot of water. So she looked it up as far as if spinach is good for cats or whatever, and she was like, yeah, just thought I'd let you know that peace of mind or whatever, that it's okay as long as they don't have kidney issues or whatever. And it's like, yeah, okay. No problem. I'm like, I sort of figured, because they also put spinach, because she's on science diet. She's always been on science diet. And they put that in, it's one of the ingredients in their wet cat food. It's like, okay. So, but the extra spinach is good for her also. So, anywho, I know. Keep yawning. That's okay. But, yeah, I worked 9.5 hours yesterday. I left out of here, I think it was around 1:30ish, something like that. I had to stop off and get gas first, too, and went up online right afterwards. I seriously considered not wearing my Bluetooth headset, because I had realized that yesterday when I went to lay down for a little nap that I usually do before I go out, that I had completely forgotten to plug it in when I got home the night before. Oops is right. And I think it's a little funny too, because sometimes it'll keep the charge the whole time that I'm working, but then sometimes I'll get this notification telling me, that the charge is almost depleted, and it barely had worked 6 hours even, and it's like, what the heck? I can't figure it out. So anyway, but it's goofy. But anyway, I went ahead and plugged it in, and I plugged it in with the fast charger, and I was waiting for the light to go off. It never went off, so I'm like, okay, screw it. I went out, and I guess it was fully charged, because it lasted 9.5 hours. Actually, a little bit more than that with the drive home. So it's like, all right, whatever. I have no idea. I can't keep that thing straight. So, but yeah, I was going to keep it off, and then and was just continuing to charge it in the car. but ultimately I decided, I'm just like, no, I don't feel right without it. And good thing I did put it into my ear, because I wound up downtown Minneapolis last night, and I was about, I'd say at that point, I'd say I was probably about 2/3 of the way in, because there's a certain dollar amount that I have to be making these 3 days in order to make sure I have enough money to cover the amount for the car rental, and also my sensors and gas, and make sure I have something to eat also. So yeah, and I gotta get my sensors today. But oh, excuse me, I figure I could do that on my way with my little bit of running that I'll have to do before I get rolling with everything. So, but anyway, and fortunately there's one of the gas stations that I gas up at is right across the street from where I get my prescriptions filled. And it's already filled, so I just gotta go pick it up. So, anyway, I'll get that taken care of today, and I think I gotta swap that out either tomorrow or Wednesday, I'm not too sure. I gotta look. But, anywho, yeah, I was about 2/3 of the way in to getting, meeting that goal, and lo and behold, I wound up downtown Minneapolis. When I seen where I was going to be dropping off, I'm like, oh, fuck. And sure, and of course, 3-day weekend, people are still in town. And I guess there was some sort of event going on downtown, so there were, it's bad enough. I don't do well in those sort of situations when we start getting into all that congestion, and I have to maneuver through it and everything. It's like my anxiety's just kicked in big time, and I see it. I see it a lot better now that I have gone through that spiritual cleanse this past weekend, or last week anyway. Yeah, I see it even more so now. I see the reasons why it's kicking in, and it's like, okay. And so yeah, fortunately I had my Bluetooth already in, so I'm not having to be, I could be paying more attention to the road instead of having to be constantly, doing this, with the app or whatever, because unfortunately I can't hear it. And I've tried having it run through the speakers in the car, and with this new, I don't know, something gets messed up, and with the GPS through the Uber app, I don't know, things are just really wind up getting all goofy and everything, and it's like, no, just, I feel I do a lot better just having everything, the voice navigation running through my ear. And also at the same time, I have a Pandora station that I've set up on Pandora that's meditation music. It's basically Native American flute music. So if I have that running in the background, helps keep those anxieties down. And then of course I was talking to myself, telling myself, okay, calm down, this and that and everything, and it's bad enough, it's downtown, got those tall buildings. I don't do well with those tall buildings. It's weird because I'm fine with trees and mountains and so forth. No problem. It's like, okay, it's very calming, very soothing. But the man-made structures, there's something with man-made structures where it's just like, I feel like this. Like, I just want to crouch and run away and hide, and going inside of them is even worse. It's like, get me out of here. That's how I feel. It's I don't know what it is. I have no idea what it is. I wasn't raised in that environment. Um, there's just something about them. I was actually spent my first years in a small town, but there's just something I with the tall man-made structures that I just, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm being closed in. And then with congestion on top of it, I just, oh my gosh, I just went into panic mode, immediate panic mode, and I couldn't get out of it. So, and I was just like, okay, calm down, just calm down. Um, yeah, that's something I'm gonna have to explore and figure out. Okay, why? Turn this off. There we go. So, and it was funny because I wound up picking up an order. Not the greatest of neighborhoods. A lot of homeless and so forth were hanging around. It's one of those like community kitchen sort of places or whatever. There you go in. They just prepare the food. You pay for outside, and then when it's ready, it gets thrown into a locker. And then you open up the locker. Or the locker opens up for you. But anyway. So, but it was funny with being there. It was like people were just kind of staring at me, and I kind of wonder if maybe they thought maybe I was nervous about that situation. That doesn't bother me. I'm used to those sort of situations. It doesn't bother me. No, what I was worried about was going down a street the wrong way, the tall buildings. At that point, though, where I was away from the buildings, but I was still in the middle of congestion, not sure which way streets were going, and of course, there's police all over the place, and I'm just worried about going down the wrong way of a one-way street or something, or winding up in the wrong lane, not being able to differentiate, which side of the street it should be on or whatever. I mean, obviously I know which side of the street or what have you under normal circumstances, but sometimes, especially with those downtown areas, it can be kind of difficult to see, or whatever. Or like out in the rural areas, it's like, oops, there's a divider there, like what happened to me one night. Oops. Thank goodness there were signs there. Do not enter. Oops. Sorry. One way. Wrong way. Oh well. And I do that even sometimes with the freeway entrances around here. It's like, shoot, okay, is this the exit that's coming off the freeway, or is this the entrance? Oh gosh. I know it's going to happen at some point. I get that feeling, and I'm trying my best to be careful. It just can be very, very confusing out there sometimes. But yeah, like I said, I wound up down there, and there was some sort of big event going on. So of course there was even bigger road closures, more road closures, and then they also had one of those big trucks. Not vans, but buses or whatever that the police use as their like temporary headquarters, and they had one of those out there, and I seen it, and it was just like, it's like they're all congregated right there. That's an authority issue. But it's more worried about chaos starting to happen at any moment. That's what that is. Like protests or what have you. And then they're just going out and arresting anybody, just because you happen to be there, in the wrong place, the wrong time, sort of situation. I know that's where that's stemming from. But now just all that congestion. And then I wasn't too sure the street that the app was telling me to turn down. I wasn't too sure where I should go down that street. I think it was a one-way going to the left, but there was also, excuse me, they have, trams here, basically the trains, and there were tracks going right straight down the middle of the road. And I've learned with being here that there's only one side of the tracks that you're allowed to be on, even though there might be road on one side of the tracks for a vehicle to go down. You yourself are not allowed to go down that road. It's strictly, or that side of the road. It's strictly for either buses or emergency vehicles or something. So I wasn't too sure which side of the tracks I was supposed to be on. So I decided, okay, I'm going to bypass them, and then I want and go a little bit further up the road and go down another road. But unfortunately, I wound up running into whatever the event was that was happening. So I wound up running into that traffic, making things even worse. And then, unfortunately, there was a road closure in order to be able to go down the direction that I was supposed to go down with one of the previous streets. So I wound up having to go the opposite direction and going around. And then, of course, I'm running into one-ways. I have no idea, I don't even know if I'm allowed to turn, make a right-hand turn on red. I'm just like, oh, gosh. I'm just, but I was just going with it and doing my best to keep calm. And fortunately, I wound up, after I picked up that order, I'd also accepted a shopping request at the local grocery store. Not the greatest of neighborhoods. So, of course, that made things a little bit more nerve-wracking. What was even more nerve-wracking was, of course, there was panhandlers out front, and they're all trying to, excuse me, and I'm trying to maneuver through that. And then the only shopping carts that they had in there were all busted. And I needed a shopping cart and this and that, and I chose the best one out of the 3 that were there. And unfortunately, that one, oh gosh, the wheels on it were just horrendous. So, of course, that wasn't helping matters either. But I was like, nope, I have a goal that I have to make. Push through. And I did it. Pushed through, got things calm and so forth, and got myself home. So, I got to take my sugar here a minute. I'm feeling a little funky. Oh. No. Hey! Okay, 101. Not too bad. I was just feeling a little funky. Sometimes when I'm on the upswing like that, I'll feel like my sugar is still low. So, it's just kind of, that's why I really rely on those sensors, because how I feel may not necessarily be what's actually going on. So, and I've learned that. But it's always good to have that. Otherwise, if I didn't have that, I'd be blowing through finger pricking test strips right and left. So, but anywho, so yeah, all in all, and I was able to get done a little bit early I only worked 9.5 hours, so that was awesome. Got home and ate and took my nighttime insulins and so forth, and pretty much went straight to bed. But again, a lot of tossing and turning last night. I was definitely sleeping, just my brain kept waking me up. So, I don't know. But yeah, a little bit, I don't know, maybe I could try meditating or something before I go to bed. And I thought about maybe doing maybe a little bit of yoga or something before going to bed, but I was falling asleep while I was eating even. So that wouldn't be a good idea. So I don't know. I was feeling my neck. That could be one reason why I was feeling my neck flaring up a little bit, my neck injury. Flaring up a little bit while I was working, so I was like, okay, make sure that I put some oil on before I go to bed, which I did, and I figured too, I would put some on my chest, help with any possible breathing issues, or at least not breathing issues, but yeah, just so I'll admit I was feeling the muscles in there kind of weighing a little heavy. It's the only way I could think to describe it. So I figured I'd put some oils on there. But no inclement weather. That's supposed we might have a chance for scattered showers this afternoon. Those are supposed to be increasing throughout the week. But one of the things I was thinking, it's like, okay, if bumping up these hours and bumping up that daily goal, if I can keep this up, I mean, I used to work 60 hours a week when I used to be a cab driver. So it isn't like my body isn't used to it or whatever. It just needs to remember. And of course, I know haven't been well the last couple of years, but doing a lot better. And I can bump up those hours. If I can bump up those hours and meet that nightly goal, do that 5 nights a week, then that'll give me my weekly goal, and then I can take 2 days off. That was the goal. Basically start getting myself on a regular schedule, like work Sunday through Thursday, and then I take Friday, Saturdays off. Those are, of course, usually the days that things are going on around town that I would want to be able to participate in anyway. And then that'll also give me my monthly goal. So I can see about getting, should be showing the financial and see about getting myself someplace. So yeah, and stash money away and all that sort of good stuff. And I'm still looking around different areas. Still like it more on the north side. I was mostly on the east side and a little bit on the south side last night. And of course downtown. A lot of the east side. But at least with being out there yesterday, it was earlier in the day. And I did come across, with being more on this side there, I did drop off a couple orders in one of the apartment complexes that I was looking at. And I think I can cross them off the list. There's no way I would live in there. It's a bit run down. I don't feel right. And then on top of it, it looked like it was a nice place at one point, but somebody let it run down. And there was also a pond in the middle of it, which is nice at one point. I'm sure that was very, very nice, but now it's just yuck. No, 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 no. That is asking for trouble. I lived through botulism with living in Virginia Beach, and it's like, no, you know, and it can be spread through the mosquitoes. And with having her, it's like, no, I'm not running that risk. And then on top of it, the clientele I didn't quite trust all that terribly much. So, yeah, I don't think so. I'm looking for some place that's, and especially if I'm going to be paying that sort of a price, it's like, no, yeah, I can find much, much better for the same price. So, we'll keep looking. That's the one thing I was going to mention too. I was basically out there around the area of White Bear Lake. There's several different cities out there. There's White Bear Lake, White Bear Township, Matameni, and Maplewood. Maplewood is nice. Well, all the areas out there for the most part are nice. I wouldn't mind checking it out, but I kind of like it over here on the north side though. So I'm not too sure. But there's a lot more nicer areas over around there. So I don't know. I might wind up either over there or on the south side. I love the west side too. West side is really nice. I like it out there. So I don't know. We'll see. I got to get the money together first. You know, I got to get health insurance, you know, and all that sort of stuff. And I know I mentioned farming and everything, but you know, I'd like to start my own container farm, or not container farm, but container gardening. I don't know if that's the thing. I don't know if it's just, you know, like a passing sort of interest or whatever, or if it's something that I would want to be able to do, you know, transition to full time. You know, I'm not making any plans on anything. That's one thing I wanted to make clear. I, I'm not making any sort of plans on anything. I'm just going with the flow and just kind of exploring things right now. I'm quite happy, quite satisfied with the work that I'm doing right now. If I decide to do it long term, okay. If not, I'll do something else. So, but anyway, yeah, as far as out there, it's so funny. Um, the people who live around White Bear Lake, out there in that area, especially the township or the city of White Bear Lake or whatever it's called. But anyway, it's so funny. The people are quite proud to be living out there. On the street signs, you know, the names of the streets, there's a little white bear that's on the left-hand side, that's before the street name. And then you see statues of white bears all over the place in people's yards, you know, the front entrances to their homes, all over the place. People are quite, yeah, it is quite community driven. So here, keen your eye a little bit again. I know you got some keen your eye, and you'll also see a little bit with Maplewood. Also, there's a little maple leaf there at on the street signs, same position, and then also along the freeways, the barrier walls, huge maple leaves. So it's, I think it's awesome. I think it's cute. So, and the lakes were definitely jam packed. You know, as far as like the parking lots were concerned, they were jam packed yesterday. Well, Saturday I was mostly up on the outskirts, and so forth, on the northern side. So I didn't really get to see much of that. except for when I was out there at Lake Minnetonka, around that area. Definitely a lot of the same situations. Oh, helicopter, sounds like maybe a police helicopter even. But anyway, yeah. It was, it's been, yeah, it's been good. Yeah, there were some erratic drivers out there. Definitely different from the norm. Wasn't helping with, I'll admit, wasn't helping with my nerves. But I was just like telling myself, calm, grounded, centered, just calm down, calm the monkey brain down. So, yeah. Yeah. How you doing? What? You hear Miss Angie? You hear Miss Angie? I need a clean eye. I got some allergies there. Got some allergies. Anywho, I should probably get myself going. Yeah. So I can get myself to work, get a shower, all that sort of good stuff. And my neck is definitely feeling better this morning with putting some oils on. I'll calm those muscles down. And getting a shower will help too. Yeah. She's like, Mommy, don't kissy me. All right. I'll talk at you later. I love you guys.